In the last 15 years or so, the number of ramen restaurants in the US has nearly doubled. So, where do you go for the steamy bowls and noodle pools of food media darlings? Today on CityCast Las Vegas, we bring back food influencer Philip Sang, aka Las Vegas Phil, to line up the bowls and tell us where to find the best ramen in town. It's Thursday, September 18th. I'm David Figler, and here's what Las Vegas is talking about. Phil, I know there's a lot of good ramen out there. Honestly, I've never had bad ramen or ramen that wasn't at least okay. But in your opinion, what makes a bowl stand out as something special?
So that's a good point that you just brought up. I mean, there's never really a terrible ramen, almost like pizza in a way. And for
Hmm.
me, ramen is the new pizza in so many ways. When I moved to Vegas back in 2006, there's maybe only two significant ramen spots.
Hmm.
And like you mentioned in the intro, I mean, it's just amazing how many there are. But basically, for me, it's all about the broth and the noodles more than anything else. I mean, the two main components of any ramen are those two things. So that's what I'm kind of looking for to stand out when I try a bowl of ramen.
What do you think is behind the big boom in ramen joints around, especially our town?
That's a great question. I really think it's the margins, to be honest. I mean, you look at places like for boba or all you can eat sushi and things like that. Suppliers just have more pork, more noodles, more kind of ingredients for ramen. And I think, back in the kitchen, aside from like spending hours and hours on the broth like some of them do, it's a quick kind of assembly lineup that's kind of not hard like a French dining restaurant or a steakhouse and
Hmm.
things like that. So it works really well. And once you get the machine going and the people coming in, they're literally just printing money.
Yeah, well, I'm as used to those little packets that you get when you're in your dorm room and you go to Costco and you get like 1,000 of them. This is very elevated from that. And when I was first introduced to places around Las Vegas, it was like it's like really good soup. What are the
Yes.
main differences between the soups that are out there? I mean, what are the main differences?
So for Vegas specifically, it's all about the tonkotsu ramen or what they call Hakata style ramen, which is primarily a pork based broth, uh,
Mm,
bones just simmering for hours and hours in the kitchen, probably as early as maybe 2 a.m. Before they open up at 11 a.m. or noon.
wow.
And then along with that, there are a lot of ramen spots do offer variations of that. Shio ramen, which is a salt based ramen, miso ramen, which is like that fermented soybean paste, probably the most popular style of ramen in Japan. And then shoyu ramen, which is the soy sauce ramen, which is more of a simple, lighter broth. So it's not so heavy, and a lot of people prefer that as well. But in Vegas, I would say tonkotsu ramen is the prevalent one. It's the most famous style that I think Americans would understand, and I think that's why it does so well.
Well, we're becoming more sophisticated here. And
True.
I guess that's where we kind of want to go with our conversation, Phil, is, you mentioned all these different types of broth. I want to know, where are the best places in Las Vegas to find these different broths for ramen?
There's a huge list of spots now, but some of my personal favorites, it really starts with Ramen Sora on Spring Mountain, one of the most popular places for lunch. There's usually maybe a 15-20 minute wait even on weekdays for lunch.
Mm,
And I particularly enjoy the shoyu ramen there, which is the soy sauce based ramen. My wife loves the miso ramen with corn butter on top,
mm.
which is a very popular topping. And I think that it really starts with that. They've been around one of the ramen spots that have been around the longest and still remain one of the most popular. A couple other places I really enjoy: Ramen Hashi.
Hmm.
Ramen Hashi does a chicken-based broth, and I think they realized early on that they couldn't compete in the tonkotsu realm because so many places are doing it so well. So they went on a completely different direction, and it's really paid off in spades for them. The flavor really captures the essence of the chicken itself, the chicken bones, and it's just one big bowl of comfort. Probably my most frequently visited to place for ramen And then for the new people, for the new kids on the block, Ramen Boys, their mix is kind of like a chicken pork broth mix for a lot of their bowls. And I think that's an outstanding place. I love that they're open till 2 a.m. I was just there 3 weeks ago at like 12:30 at night, and there was a 35-minute wait,
Wow.
which was wild.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was incredible. And so those are three solid spots. But there's so many more. Ramen, Sakura Ramen, Ramen Ebisu in Henderson is super legit. And then a couple of places that aren't really known for ramen that do a great ramen would be like Hachi inside that big shopping plaza. And what's the other one? Toridokoro, which is mainly known for chicken skewers, but they do make an excellent chicken ramen, which I recommend finishing off the meal with for only $9.
Wow, lot of options. We're going to put them in our show notes because I got a word from one of our listeners that they like constantly stop and rewind, especially when you're on, Phil,
Oh,
to make sure that they get like everything. But we do
right.
have them located in our show notes too. You know, that's wild to me that there's these long waits because to me, ramen is always the get in, get out because it is so fast to assemble, I think. But it's popular. It's popular. There's nothing you could do about it.
It's a 24-hour food to me. Late night, early, drunk, not drunk. I mean, it's just the best bowl of comfort you could possibly ask for any time of day. I love it. And then, yeah, you do mention that it should be a quick in and out. Like in Japan, I mean, I believe the plan is for the chef to serve it to you, and you should start eating or maybe even finish within 5 minutes because the
Mm.
idea for the chef is that the noodles themselves don't really last that long and they will get mushy afterwards. So refrain from taking pictures or doing some sort of crazy YouTube intro. Just get into it and slurp it all out as soon as possible. That's really the idea, but we like to take our time when we're sitting down here.
I want to ask this question though. Are there any places in town that do, say, a more unique twist on the broth? This is going to be the last of the broth questions, and then I want to get to them noodles.
There are some great vegan options, non-pork options for ramen in Vegas.
Mhm.
Jinya, which is a very well-known chain, has a fantastic array of mushroom-based vegan ramens. And then also Ramen Boys does a really good vegetarian ramen. My wife usually gets that instead because it's a little lighter. And so there are some excellent alternatives out there for non-pork
Yeah, I've
people.
actually seen a birria ramen offered.
Yes.
Have
Yeah, several places do that.
Do you have a spot where you would recommend people go to check a birria ramen? Because birria is having its moment too right now.
Absolutely. But my biggest hangout with birria ramen is they continue to use the shitty packaged instant noodles. Like I
Ah,
have this dream of an abuela and a ramen master coming together and
yes,
where the ramen master makes these incredible noodles.
Romeo and
And
Juliet. Come
yes,
on.
yes. And
Yeah.
I believe there is one spot now. Someone was tagging me earlier that does that. Maybe I think it's like Neko Ramen is using legit noodles and birria as well. This is maybe the first Asian-owned restaurant that is serving birria ramen, where the rest of them are all Mexican.
Hey, if nothing else, that sounds like an adventure to go give it a shot, right?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
The hottest night of the year is back. AFAN's 39th annual Black and White Party taking over Chaos Nightclub inside the Palms Casino Resort on Saturday, September 20th. This year's Wild West themed celebration is hosted by Frederick Godinez and Alexander Stabler of the design studio Frederick Alexander, and it's your chance to experience an unforgettable night of fashion, entertainment, and community. The entertainment for the evening is stacked. Simone and Mirage from RuPaul's Drag Race, Fantasy, David Hernandez and Kyle Koo from American Idol, the cast of Piranha and Gypsy nightclubs, the Chippendales, and more. Proceeds support Aid for AIDS of Nevada's critical programs, providing housing, transportation, food, and medical case management for those living with or affected by HIV/AIDS. Visit afanlv.org to learn more and purchase your tickets today. That's afanlv.org. The Rita Deenan Abbey Art Museum presents RDA Performs, its inaugural season of 4 intimate concerts where architecture, art, and music converge. With just 75 seats per performance, this boutique series transforms the museum into a resonant, living gallery of sound. The season's 4 live performances include piano portraits, a piano duet dialogue, ancient echoes, Baroque music and modern resonance, Broadway reimagined, and desert sounds, rain spell. Each concert offers a singular artistic expression where space, silence, and sound are part of the story. RDA Performs. It's a collaboration between the Rita Deenan Abbey Art Museum and international award-winning pianist Alexandria Lee, the series artistic director. For more information and to purchase a subscription series, visit ritadeenanabbeymuseum.org. All right, well, we've been holding off long enough. Let's get into the noodles. First off, what are the different types of noodles that you will find in a bowl of ramen in Las Vegas?
So usually you're looking at thin, medium, and thick noodles. I mean, the purpose of all of them is really just to soak up and absorb all the flavors in that bowl to really just give you the best bite possible. I think these days, probably thick noodles is more popular, but I personally, for me, I do prefer a thin noodle most of the time. I mean, along with that, you always know when a Korean owns the ramen spot when there's things like bulgogi in the bulgogi ramen.
Yeah.
They're using different kinds of noodles that perhaps would be, more towards Korean cuisine. But I think, yeah, thin, medium, and thick would be the main 3 mostly. Some do gluten-free now. I haven't had those. I know gluten-free is a mixed bag, especially with noodles and bread. But yeah, there are those options as well. And then also Dragon Tiger Noodle. I don't know if you could classify them as ramen per se, but they offer fiery noodles,
Huh.
which are spicy themselves.
Oh,
The actual noodles are red, and so give off a heat, themselves, and which is a very interesting, and I found out to be a very enjoyable bite, to be honest. It's a chain. I believe they have like 4 or 5 locations
oh, wow.
in Vegas, and they do theirs like Chipotle style, where you order all the ingredients in a bowl. They they pour the broth from a tap, and it's wild.
That's remarkable.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll keep my eye out, but I'm sensitive. If I see a flaming red food, I'm going to be passing. I'm going to hand that off to my friends. You did mention the S word earlier, so let me get. What is your take on slurping? Do you slurp, Phil, at a restaurant, or are you dainty?
Okay, so in Japan, you're supposed to slurp. That's the way you show the appreciation to the chef for what's being given to you.
I mean, people say that about burping too, but we don't do it, right? I mean, we burp, but we don't do it. That was for the chef. Compliments.
Sure.
So what's your take? What's your hot take on slurping?
I'm good with it. I'm absolutely good with it as long as you're not like spitting out ramen and things aren't flying all over the place. I think it's absolutely warranted. And if you enjoy it that way, that's a good way to do it. I would say that's a traditional way. Obviously, in this country, though, if you're in the middle of Kansas, having ramen probably don't want to be as audible. But I mean, most of the ramen spots are pretty noisy here, and I don't think anyone really cares.
Is there anywhere else, Phil, that you find does their noodles really well?
I mean, there are only a few spots making their noodles in-house.
Mm-hmm.
So places like Ramen Hashi do it. Ramen Show on Spring Mountain as well makes their own noodles, and you can really tell the difference in the quality when you go into those kinds of spots. But there are plenty of great restaurants that do just purchase the noodles in a bag from a factory. I think there's a couple of famous ones in LA, and those are still legit. I mean, those are still really good. I think specifically for ramen, it doesn't have to be made in-house, but you can definitely tell the difference in the al dente-ness of the ramen itself, and it's quite enjoyable.
Yeah. And generally speaking, it's still pretty affordable, cheap food, right?
I mean, what's cheap anymore in Las Vegas? $17 cheap? I don't know.
Oh, so what is the range of like a really basic ramen bowl. We're going to get to some toppings that could really drive up the price in a second, but for, the kind of bowls that you've been talking about, what's our range that we should be looking at?
I think the absolute cheapest now would maybe be of a quality bowl of ramen would be like $15.
Okay.
I think you're looking at probably between $15 and $22 if you get like extra chashu or want to add things like seaweed or bean sprouts and things like that. A lot of them do a good job kind of pre-packaging them all into certain bowls, but sometimes in certain places I just want what I want, and then it ends up being $25.
Yeah, no, you could definitely
Yeah.
jack up the price. And I would imagine though the packets themselves are still in the under $5 range for just a packet that you would go
Yes.
get. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
you could totally do it that way. Stateside, I really like the Momofuku noodles. I mean, it's not really ramen, but some people do make a broth out of it at home.
Hmm.
I think those are probably some of the best packaged noodles I've ever had. But usually, I just stick with the ones that are imported from Japan. If I were to go that way, I think there's definitely some good ones. It's not as low quality as before. They're really trying to step it up for the home game.
Yeah, and I do note that in a lot of ramen places I've gone to, they have sort of the pre-prepared, option one, option two, option three with the various toppings inside. But you always have the option of adding stuff in or creating your own kind of bowl from the ground up once you get that good, broth and noodle under control. So what toppings do you tend to go for? And are there any like places in town that really excel in the topping offering?
Wow, good question. So chashu is the most important thing for me, which is the roasted pork. There's several places that do an excellent version of chashu, and they do what's very interesting with all the ramen spots is how it's served, whether it's thinly sliced, fattier, or leaner, things like that. Everyone kind of does it quite differently, to be honest. But the ones that really do give a shit about and work their ass off to make great chashu, man, there's a lot of them in town. Ramen Hashi, for sure, does a really good one. Sakura
You keep going
Ramen.
back to that guy.
I
So
do, I
that,
do,
yeah.
I do. I love
Okay.
that place. And then one place I recently went to, which is on Buffalo, Tachi Ramen. I think they spent like 2 days on their chashu for each and every slice. So I think they die
Wow.
inside a little bit if people don't finish it.
Uh-huh.
When they get
We
the bowl
work
back.
so
I know
hard.
it's like the pizza guys who see that the customers that don't eat the crust, right?
Mm.
But those are a couple of places. Ramen Sora as well does a great one. But yeah, any place that really gives a shit about their ramen has to really care about the toppings as well. And it really is all about the chashu for me. Other additional add-ons I love extra scallion. I do love seaweed in there as well, especially in the beginning for a little bit of a crispness. I want to eat those immediately before I get into everything else. But yeah, those would be the main ones for me. In Japan, corn butter is very popular. Just a pat of butter itself is something that people like to put in for some creaminess and umami. That's not as popular here in Vegas yet, but perhaps it will be.
What about the jammy egg? That's a very polarizing, divisive thing. Some people can't eat
Really,
ramen without the little egg in it, and some people are like, gross. I don't want that. Where do
I've
you
never
fall
met
in this?
I've never met anyone that said it was gross, but I guess I could see how people would feel that way.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, everyone has their own likes and dislikes. I'm always very curious when the little like red and white striped thing shows up.
The
It
the
looks like
Naruto, it's the
right. It looks
Naruto,
like
yeah.
it's gonna be like minty like your grandma's candy jar, but it is not. It is not that. So what is that?
It's a fish cake.
Oh, okay.
It's a little, yeah, processed fish cake. Thinks of it as a slice of a hot dog made with fish. You're gonna say
It's
anything?
it's it's parts,
It's
is what you're
parts.
saying.
It's parts of
Okay.
fish. Yeah, a little thing. But to me, an egg is a must in ramen, and it should be runny. That's just how the way it is. Jidori eggs are generally a higher quality of egg compared to the one stateside with the deep, more orange colored yolk. It's
Hmm.
aesthetically pleasing to me when I see it in the bowl. And yeah, I think the runniness and all that is important, especially for me. If that's not there, it's not a full bowl.
I mean, there are some spots that I think are known for their customization options that you could put on top. Again, going back to our ramen expert on the CityCast staff, Layla Mohammed, she loves Shokku Ramen on Spring Mountain because they do, alter those ramen bowls really to taste.
Plus, Shoku's open 24/7, which is a great perk. I mean, I think really the last 24-hour ramen spot in town. So I think they've done a good job. I haven't been there in a very long time, but
Yeah.
they've done a great job with marketing, and I think customization, that's a big thing just in American culture itself.
We want what we want, Phil. We want what
Right,
we want.
right. The menu item is just a starting point to an
Yeah.
argument on how it should be done, right?
Excuse me, do you have anything pickly? I like pickly things. Give me a pickly thing.
Right.
And then they're like, this guy.
Nobody asks you for my spice level in Japan, okay? You get what you get.
You
That's
get what
it.
you get. Yeah, no, spice level is a thing here. One thing we haven't mentioned yet, we've talked about a lot of these well-known hot ramen spots, but as we are still cooling off from summer, people might be interested in a colder option. Where are we going to go if we want to get cold ramen or cold noodles?
Sure. So a lot of the places, a lot of the ramen spots do a cold ramen specifically for summer. It's called Hayashi Chuka.
Hmm.
So fresh ramen noodles, and then they kind of add like a sauce with veggies. Usually everything is cold, including like sliced chicken or even
Mm.
the chashu. And it's super refreshing and a really great way to go when you want to keep it a bit lighter. So off the top of my head, I know Sakura Ramen does a really good one, and Ramen Ebisu does a good one as well, and a Ramen Show, which I've had that one several times, and that's a really good one as well. But yeah, Hayashi style ramen, that's what they would call it, and those would be three that I could safely recommend to anyone because it'll still be 100 degrees out for another month, probably.
Yeah, yeah,
The
or
way,
two or three. Who knows
yeah,
with
thanks,
climate
thanks,
change
global
anymore?
warming. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of really super duper good options. I got to tell you, Phil, I've got a couple ramen spots that I enjoy. You've mentioned some of them, but I had no idea the depth. But even with all that, what do you think we are missing in Las Vegas when it comes to ramen?
It's grown so much, so I don't really think there's something missing per se, but it's never going to hit the flavor, quality, and umami that they do in Japan. There's no way a Las Vegas food health inspector would go into Japan and see the pots that have been going on for days and days, weeks, months, who knows,
Yeah,
and keep that thing going. I mean, 10 years ago they were shutting down Korean spots over kimchi because they didn't fucking understand what was happening. So I think, people are doing the best they can with the time and the budgets and the restrictions that they do have. So to me, I really don't feel like anything's missing per se. I really just enjoy the variety and, how everyone kind of does their own style. No two broths are really the same. And for that, I'm just thankful that it is as popular as it is.
yeah. Well, I guess we won't be seeing any raw milk ramen anytime soon.
Or ice cream. You might see ice cream, soft serve ice cream in a ramen. I know
Interesting.
that blew up in Japan. One spot was doing it. Mayonnaise based ramen, I guess, never made it to the U.S. So maybe that.
Damn you, regulations. Anyway, hey, Phil, it's always great talking food with you. You always give us some really good new options and have a really good view of the scene. So appreciate you coming on CityCast Las Vegas.
As always, great talking to you. I appreciate being on.
That's all for today here on CityCast Las Vegas. If you enjoyed the show, hey, go tell a friend. You could rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our morning newsletter. We'll have all those great places listed in our show notes, too. And don't forget, you could support this show and get some great perks by becoming a CityCast Las Vegas neighbor at membership.citycast.fm. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Till then, stay lucky.
So I do manage social for a Chinese noodle spot, and it kills me. It makes me want to rip my eyeballs out when I see the stories that they say best ramen ever. I'm like, fuck off with that. Come on. Just because there's noodles and broth,
Yeah.
I mean, so many people just classify it all as one thing. I've made posts about this in the past, trying to explain the differences between the three, a pho ramen or like a Chinese beef noodle soup, but it falls on deaf ears, I think.